Hi guys, I'm Casey. This video is about me getting a rhinoplasty, a nose job without anesthesia. And it's been, hold on, what is it, 2026? I got that in April of 2019, so about 7 years ago. I got married in November of 2019, so it was kind of getting ready for my wedding, but it was something I always wanted to do. Disclaimer, this is not medical advice. This isn't promoting plastic surgery, but spoiler, this was like the best money I ever spent on my physical appearance. I'm going to be talking while I'm getting ready. I look kind of bad. I have this sick pimple that I usually never get. I also got my disc port yesterday in my forehead, so I'm like bruised. Anyway, just leave me alone about that. But anyway, my nose job. So a little backstory, I have always had a weird nose. And my family and I, like, we all kind of have the same nose, but mine was just out of control. It was very bulbous. I tried to put a picture in the thumbnail so you could see. I don't think I'm going to edit in photos, but if you go to my Insta, The Wicked Waxer, there's like a whole documentation of like my healing and all of that. But basically I was going to see my injector, who I've followed all over God's green earth because she's just so wonderful and amazing. I was seeing her for, probably my Botox or Dysport. And I was telling her how much I hated my nose. She's like, oh, well, I think the plastic surgeon's here today. Do you want to like just chat with him for a second? And I'm like, yeah, sure. So I go and talk with him. His name is Dr. Sammy Sino, and he's so kind. I'll get to that. But he was like, yeah, we could like set up a consultation. You can come in and we could chat more about it. So I did do that. And when you go in for a consultation for plastic surgery, I think this happens in most places. They basically use this really fancy, I think it's called a vector camera. So it takes a photo of you from multiple angles and then like digitally composites all together. And then they upload that into a program, and they can basically show you exactly what you would look like if you had whatever cosmetic or plastic surgery procedure done. So we do that. He shows me the picture, and it can be tweaked and things. And obviously he asked me like, what do you not like? And my nose never had a bump. So like my profile, I hope you can see, has always kind of been this. It's not a cute slope necessarily, but it's straight down. I've never disliked it. But my tip was super bulbous. It was almost like an animal, like feline-like or pig-like. It was just out of control. I hated it. And I love doing makeup, but no contouring, no technique, nothing with the makeup would work. It was just never going to happen because structurally my nose was just odd to me. Anyway, I go in for the consult. He shows me like the pictures, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm freaking gorgeous in this computer program. So anyway, we were chatting, and I was thinking like, I'm not going to do this because it's going to be like tens of thousands of dollars. And he's like, actually, because most of my issue was with the bulbous tip, and it was mostly a cartilage issue, he suggested we do an in-office procedure, which I'm like, I didn't even know that was a possibility. That seems like very scary. But he's like, no, you're going to be very comfortable. It should be a pretty fast surgery. We're not having to do any bone work as far as like breaking your nose, any of that. So the healing should also be significantly easier, et cetera, et cetera. So he kind of like talked me through all of that. And I'll give you the price. This was, again, in 2019, so I'm sure everything has gone up at that point. But my in-office rhinoplasty, my in-office nose job without anesthesia was $5,000, which to me, I'm like, oh my God, like that seems very doable. So the long and the short, I went ahead and did it. So how that situation went was basically you get prescribed all of these medications to kind of knock your ass out. So it was like, and this was like dosed out over time. I think I had to be there maybe 2 hours before my scheduled surgery time. So it was like Xanax, Valium. I think there was another one that I can't quite remember. So by the time you make it to the operating table, you are asleep, although I wasn't asleep for the whole thing, but just so out of it that like you didn't even care what was happening. So every 30 minutes, a nurse would come in to dose me out some more of these various medications. And like I said, by the time I was due to have my surgery, I was on Planet Casey. I was not there. But I will say I was awake for a significant portion of the surgery. I think it was scheduled for maybe 2 hours. I think they went a little longer. But so, they walk you in there. I don't remember this part very well. I was definitely browned out for this, but you get on the table, they get you all prepped. They did do some local anesthetic in my nose just to numb the area that I didn't even care about because I was so zonked out. But once that set in, then the fun starts happening. So I don't know if you can see, I have like a little scar under here. So they cut my nose there, pull it all up. I do remember at some point being like, oh my God, I can feel that like my nose is like up on my forehead. But I was kind of coming in and out of consciousness / sleep. So I was good. Prior I was thinking like, oh my gosh, what if I start really panicking and waking out? But that wasn't the case because of all the medications that I was on for that surgery. But, it was, some pressure, some movements. I could feel what was happening and kind of hear them here and there. Like I said, I was in and out of consciousness. But at some point he did get this giant file, like a nail file basically, but it's like a surgical file. It's like a ruler. And I could feel him kind of like shaving some of this bone down. It didn't hurt, again, did not hurt at all. But it just feels weird when you're like, oh my God, they're like inside my face and shaving down my bone. And 1, I don't care. And 2, I can't feel it. So, he does what he's got to do, wraps it all up, stitches me up. My husband comes and like sees me, eventually escorts me to the car. I go home, and the rest of the day I was like super out of it. And obviously you have pain medication to help with the pain. But by the next day, I felt pretty good. I was a little tired from being on all those medications, but I felt pretty good. So I had like a nice, long, weird sleep the day of my surgery after I got home. And then the following days, it was like really normal. I had like, they put a little, not a cast, but like tape around your nose just to keep the swelling down and everything. And a few days later, there's a picture of me like sitting at the bar having a whiskey sour with my weird nose tape on. And I don't even think I took a week off of work, maybe 5 days. And then I was back at it. But they do say it takes about a year for your nose to settle. I feel like I was really happy with it at like the 6-month mark. Like I said, I had the surgery April of 2019. I got married November 2019. So that's a pretty fast turnaround. And I was really happy with my appearance at my wedding. But, it incrementally got better. I was happy straight away. But when I look at pictures now, I'm like, oh, it was like still looking a little weird. Like it looked better than my God-given nose. But it was, it still just hadn't settled. There was like weird swelling. It was just a strange shape. It was a lot to get used to be honest with you. But every month it got a little better. I did have to routinely go in for cortisone shots or steroid shots for swelling. And that actually was quite uncomfortable. I don't want to say it was worse than the entire picture of the surgery, but that's just like a raw shot in your nose. That was also fine, but that did help with the swelling, I will say. What else did I want to say about this? It was the best money I've ever spent. So I guess my advice to you, if you don't have like major bone issues, like I know some people have like a really wide, crazy bridge that they're not happy about, or they have some sort of profile issue where they either have a hump or something, or major asymmetry, you know, like some people's nose goes all types of crazy, you know, when you're looking straight on. I will say, and you're probably looking at my nose like, it's not perfect. I know it's not perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect. For me, this is great. And actually, because it's not perfect, no one can ever tell or realize that I've had a nose job, which is cool. This side dents in a little bit here. I have one like this profile has like a little bump on this side, but if I turn totally to my profile, I don't really notice it. It's more like quarter turn. And then this side I feel like is pretty good, pretty normal, which is sick. In my opinion, this is my good side. Right now I have a pimple and my nose profile is not great. Whatever, doesn't matter. What else did I want to say about this? I just feel like, you know, people get really scared to get these procedures done, but for me personally, I had hated my nose my entire life. I always made jokes about it, like even back in high school, that I hated my nose, but it wasn't like, when I look at pictures now, I'm like, oh, like, was it really that bad? And I guess it was enough for me to undergo this crazy surgery without anesthesia. But the reason that I think it's important to talk about my experience with having this done in office, one, I didn't know that was an option. Two, you save so much money because you're not paying the fee for the anesthesiologist, the actual anesthesia, or the like rental of a surgery center. My plastic surgeon, I believe, works out of Northwestern here in Chicago. So I think there's a certain amount of days a week that he's in the surgery center versus doing in-office procedures like basic injectables and small in-office surgeries. So that saved me a lot of money. Now, I had to go for, you know, a lot of like checkups or just like for him to see and check in on my progress as far as my healing. And you know, I feel like plastic surgeons are very, like, they want perfection because you're obviously a billboard for them and their work. But I go and see him for these checkups and he's like, oh, it's not perfect. I would just do these little tweaks. And I have a daughter, I have a 3-year-old, and I did go in for a consult for a breast augmentation. I don't think I'm going down that road right now, but he was like, if you do any other surgeries that would warrant anesthesia, he's like, I could get in there and fix it, make it perfect in like 2 seconds. So that's always an option, but it really doesn't bother me. I like my nose. I'm quite happy with it. As far as the stigma and stuff, I work in the beauty industry. I'm an esthetician and I own my own business rather. So I come to work looking all types of crazy. I do like skin peels, lasers. I just showed up with my nose tape for like a month. You're supposed to tape as often as possible following the surgery as you possibly can, as makes sense. But if I was just gonna be at work and seeing my clients, I'm like, hell yeah, baby, I got a nose job. Let me tell you all about it. And I'm not sure that's like the best way to influence, but I'm really happy with it. I can't imagine I'm alone. Plastic surgery is a booming business, baby. So yeah, if you have mostly a cartilage issue with a bulbous tip, you might be able to get an in-office procedure and save yourself a ton of money. But they'll be able to tell you, they'll be honest with you, because I did tell them, I'm like, am I gonna be happy with this? Is this just kind of like a half-baked, half-pregnant idea to do this? Like, should I really just like wait, save, and do it, like go big or go home? And he told me, he's like, I think you're gonna be really happy with it. So I am. He was right. So I saw Dr. Sammy Sino here in Chicago, and I must say, he has the best bedside manner of any doctor across all fields I've ever encountered. He's so sweet and caring and really, really wanted to make sure that I was happy. And we've, developed a bit of a, you know, patient-doctor relationship, and I had an issue with my daughter. She had a bad cut on her cheek when she was about 1. I messaged him and he told me exactly what to do, exactly how to treat it. I busted my face open 2 separate occasions, and he helped walk me through that. So he's just a great guy. I was really happy with him. So if you're in the Midwest, it's worth a consult. Not sponsored. I haven't talked to him in a long time, but he was great. Anyway, that was my situation getting a nose job without anesthesia. And I feel like she's looking decently cute, but natural and cheap. Happy about that.